Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope that you're doing really well in this moment in time. And no matter whenever and wherever you are on this big blue marble we live on, I want you to be aware that you might have differences of opinion, or you might have a different memory of the past in your families or among your friends. And I want you to realize that your memories are valid. Don't doubt yourself, but also don't doubt the memories of your family members. And that's weird because you guys might have completely different sets of memories, but you come from different timelines. And remember how every timeline, the closest timeline to you is 2% different. But maybe your loved one came from one that's 10% different. You know, a couple years ago, my oldest accused me of serving the kids TV dinners all the time. Always with the TV dinners. You never really cooked for us. And my memory is that I made them one TV dinner once, so they got to see how I lived when I was a kid, because we ate a lot of TV dinners, not all the time, but once a week, sometimes twice a week. And it was weird. But I wanted to talk to them about the space race and the Jetsons and the Flintstones and the space age technology and moving into the future ideas. And this was one of the ideas they had of moving in the future, was eating out of aluminum foil. I mean, when I was a kid, that was like so exciting. Oh my God. You know, just the way that probably eating canned food was excellent in the 40s or 30s. I don't know when cans were filled with food and bought in grocery stores, but that was a big deal, you know? So, but I remember doing it once and then having a conversation about it and how history has been shaped by technology, but was also shaped by NASA and the space thing, going to the moon. And we felt like we were astronauts eating out of tin foil. We felt connection to the astronauts because of the way it was marketed. I mean, my oldest kid's like, you guys were crazy, you know? You know? But I did it as a teaching moment. And it drove me crazy for years. I'm like, how could you have said that to me? I cooked all the time. You had fresh steamed vegetables. You had meat. You had, high quality grains. I always give you brown rice. You know, I don't understand, Even the tortillas were whole grain. Now I don't, now it doesn't matter because wheat isn't all that great for you. And my kid and I, my youngest and I, we still eat tortillas. We have some in the fridge right now, actually. They don't affect me as much as bread, so I don't eat bread that much. Although today I did eat bread. My son went and croissants. They're like my bane, It's like, I have no power of the croissant. I mean, they're so good. But it was such a weird thing, and then today my son came in and expressed his great disgust at me as a mom for never providing proper nutrition. And I'm like, but I did. We've always had food. We've always had money. We've always had access to it. He's like, well, I remember days that all I ate was potato chips. I'm like, I don't. I remember days where you ate potato chips before or after dinner or in between lunch and dinner. We've always had food in the house. And if we didn't have food in the house, at least we had money in the house where we could go get food. I always made sure, and we've ordered out a lot. Back when I had more money, we ordered out more. But we ate out a lot. We ate in restaurants in Mexico where it was really fresh food. It's not the same in Central America and South America as it is in the U.S., Some of the restaurants are more commercial and they're more processed food, but most of the places you go to, it's like straight up, like they go to the same mercado that you go to. They buy the fresh ingredients from the farmers the way you do, you know. A lot of people here actually cook without salt. And so you could add your own salt for health reasons. People are very health conscious, especially here. You know, in parts of Peru, there's like people that make fresh squeezed juice for you on demand on the street corners in downtown Lima. You know, it's like, you don't see that in the U.S. You don't see that at all. You know, I've never seen that. I mean, you're walking around the pier in Santa Monica, you're going to get fried this and fried that and ice cream to top it off and a bunch of soda. And if you're lucky, you'll find a place that has iced tea without sugar in it. You know, but here, you know, you see the street vendors and they're like making ceviche. You know, they're putting a bunch of fish with vegetables. You know, the street vendors here, like, they'll have like, they just do barbecue, like straight up, like they go get meat at the store, put it on the Barbie. Sometimes it's shrimp and vegetables. Sometimes it's chicken. One time, I swear to God, it was rat. I had a couple bites of it and I went, this looks funny. This isn't shaped like something that should be chicken. This has a weird smell. Can you go give this to the stray dogs down the street? I am not going to eat rat again. We're not going to get into what they served in the jungle. Oh my God. Maybe some other day. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But I don't know. So I want you guys to not doubt yourself. You know, because I know what I fed my kids. I know that they had. I mean, there were days we didn't have a lot of food in the house, you know. You know, but him, you know, telling me today, oh, we don't have anything. It's like, we have moringa, we've got spirulina, we've got, you know, it's like, I've got 3 different types of greens drink if we have no vegetables, but we do have vegetables. I have a whole head of purple cabbage in there right now. You know, you could go next door and for 30 cents get an egg, fry that baby up, add the ginger. I've got fresh ginger. I have powdered ginger, but I got fresh in there. I mean, I always keep stuff on hand that are that's healthy, like always have. And he refused to eat his dinner for a couple weeks, and then he was feeling weak and he went to the hospital, and she said, well, you need to take your vitamins. And when I tried to buy him vitamins a month ago, he refused and had to rebel. So they had to give him a shot in the ass to give him vitamins. But the other thing is electrolytes, and that's another weird thing, though. I never went out of my way to make sure we all have electrolytes, right? And it never was something that absolutely occurred to me. And I started realizing that we're being bombarded with this massive amounts of like cosmic radiation. And as a direct result of that, I don't know. I think that our electrolytes are going down. I know that I feel better when I drink Pedialyte now. And it's like, wait a minute, I've had to have like 3 of those this past week, and I know I've been sick. And that can deplete you of your vitamins and minerals really fast. And he was sick for a whole week before he went to the doctor, so that might just be what happened. But also, he's not taking care of himself. Like, I have really good food in the house. Oh yeah, I just remembered I have like 6 kinds of vegetables in the frozen vegetables. Flash frozen, you know. I always have it on hand. So, like, okay, I know. It's like, where you get the, you know, and it's like, no, but it made me doubt myself. But I know what my memory is. I know what his memory is. We must come from different timelines. When you come from different timelines, there's really no arguing, because you're going to remember it one way and they're going to remember it the other way. And it's just, you argue till you're blue in the face and you're both right. And that's a really crazy paradox, isn't it? It's totally crazy. Totally crazy paradox. I don't know if you guys can hear it. There's like a massive birthday party like a couple blocks from here. Oh, I know where it is. It's like a rec center. It's like a community. It's one community over from where we live, and we walked down there the other day, and they have like basketball courts and tennis courts and like soccer, well, football. And it's really cool. I mean, a lot of families that are all out supporting and cheering each other on. You could go take classes. You could just go play freestyle. You know, they have different hours for, you know, just like, it's like a YMCA, but it's not a YMCA. It's just a community place. It's kind of neat. I think they're having like a soccer match or something over there because I could hear the announcer. And next door, I had to wait for extra hours. I mean, it's now 3 o'clock and I'm just getting to this because, well, actually, to be honest, I recorded a very long-winded introduction and just deleted it and started over. So that's one big thing that happened. But you guys have no idea what goes on behind the scenes. It's insane. But sometimes. Yesterday, I was so upset. I actually started the show 20 times, maybe 15 to 20 times. Started over and over and over again. And it was just like, ugh. My energy was bad. I felt bad. I was feeling really sick. I used that sun thing, though, what God said, the giant ball of light in your 8th chakra, and imagine it's a big sun, and you just focus on that. And I did get a lot better today. I was actually able to get up. I was able to do a lot of dishes. I was more alive and awake. I woke up at 11 a.m. because the day before I woke up at 5 in the afternoon, which is crazy. You know, I slept for 12 hours yesterday. Today, only about 5 or 6 hours, but still, I felt refreshed enough. But I know yesterday I had to sleep extra because of the Kundalini thing. But I did manage to make a Janisa crystal, a little tiny one, and I made it from rattan. I had this really sweet woman we met over in Quito in a coffee house. It's Abuelas or Abuelita. Oh yeah, Abuelita Esther. If you ever find yourself in Quito, Ecuador, go downtown to Abuelita Esther Cafe. It's excellent. She has really good breakfasts, really good food, all fresh ingredients. Like she just went to the store and made it for you as if you're in her house. And you feel comfortable like you're in someone's house. She's very sweet person, and her brother comes and he helps out, and then her best friend from high school, and you know, she had saved her money up from working her butt off throughout high school, and then her parents helped her buy this cafe, and she spent all of her money, and her abuelita her little grandmother gave her the money, and she's just the sweetest person in the world, and she makes her own homemade candies. And one of the candies that she had given us as gifts, because we ate there like 3 days in a row, and at the final day she was like crying because she knew we were going to go back. She was like, I'm going to miss you so much. It was like so much like that, like instant bonding, instant friendship, very sweet lady. Anyway, she had given us these handmade candies, and then she kept giving us extras, and they were wrapped in this grass that smells like a Hawaiian grass skirt. I don't know what this is, but it smells so incredible. You know, actually might be something to do with the sugar cane itself, because these were candies she made directly from sugar cane. It was lots of minerals in it. Really good candy. Very sweet, obviously, just like pure sugar. But I kept the grass because I like the smell of it. So for me, it's like kind of ASMR. Or is that true? Maybe it's not an ASMR. It's like a reverie smell memory type of thing, and it brings me to a happy part of my childhood, and now brings me to Abuelita Esther Cafe. Anyway, I soaked this grass in water, and I wrapped it around a vitamin bottle, and I taped it, and I kept it overnight so that it would be properly round, because there was like sharp edges, like it was like had been folded. So I got the folds out with the water, and I was very gentle with this grass, and so I used my hot glue gun and burned myself a couple times, because, you know, that's what happens when you use a hot glue gun. You always end up burning yourself, and then you feel like it hurts so much that you don't want to look, because maybe you have an open wound now, but the glue was like holding it together like a cauterization. You're like afraid, and then you look down and you're like, oh yeah, well, I was so dramatic, it wasn't that bad. But it hurts a lot. And anyway, so I glued everything together. I made the 4 circles, and then I put them together in the correct way. And as soon as I was done, I sat it in front of my duende on top of my big crystal. And when I did that, all of a sudden I felt it, and I could feel it right now. If I put my hand on one side, it's like a cold energy rushing out at my hand, a cold electric energy. And then I touch on the air around the other side, and it feels like warm energy going in. This is a magical shape, and it's absolutely real. I mean, remember, I just did this whole show on Genesis crystals. So, I mean, it's crazy, but it's real, absolutely real. And I made a small one. It's like 2 inches across. And I did all the maths on this. And if a 36-inch Genesis crystal goes out in 3 miles in every direction, and it cleanses the air 3 miles in every direction, then a 2-inch Genesis crystal, after doing my math, goes out in a 2.81 or 2.80, depending, 2.8 blocks radius. It's only 2 inches big. So basically almost 3 blocks away in every direction. And then I asked God, I did my muscle testing. 3 days from now, I will have cleansed the energy, the magnetic energy, electromagnetic, I guess. I don't know. I will have cleansed the energy in almost 3 blocks in every direction from here. Just because I made this thing. And I feel it. The energy in my room is better. I started to feel lighter and brighter. I was gloomy and depressed and very, very morose. Melancholia. For like 2 or 3 days. Like really bad, really negative, really upset. You know, I had a couple of very upsetting conversations over the past few days, and I was just like, I'm never going to get out of bed again. I'm going to die in my bed. I'm never going to eat again. That's how I felt. I mean, I was just like really, really sad. And I made this, and now my energy, I feel it. I feel like I'm being cleared. Like it's literally like an energetic breath of fresh air. I'm going to plug my phone back in. It just popped out of the wall. Why? Okay. So, for some reason, my computer is maybe being affected by the magnetosphere. I keep trying to shut it down, and it won't allow me to do that. Because it's like I'm not able somehow. Oh, here we go. As soon as I say it, it's fine. Thank you. All right, there we go. Maybe it will work now. So I've been looking at different videos from people on YouTube, and everyone's all up in arms and freaking out about the Schumann Resonance being 158 Hertz frequency. Because even though on all these people's websites a month ago when we had like 100 Hertz frequency in Italy, I told them all, look, you got to go to heartmath.org because that's like the real numbers. Italy is nothing, and the real numbers are HeartMath. And these same people are still like, oh my God, it was 158. The sky is falling. I totally felt it. And guess what? And I'm not saying just one. I'm not singling one person out, like 4 or 5 different videos. And some people are just like wrote in a quick message. You know, it's like super high. No, it's not. It was 600 in Africa like a week ago. That's super high. 158 is high. But compared to what's been going on, you know, I really, truly, I want to build my own Schumann Resonance machine because, I mean, what if we all built that? And then we could look at it and we're going to know how it's going to affect us because our equipment is measuring the Schumann Resonance where we live. I'm nowhere near Italy. That doesn't affect me. Ooh, in Italy, they had 158. In South Africa, it was 600. That also didn't affect me. But when it's closer, like when it's in California and it goes high, I feel it a lot more because I'm on that wave. I'm on that on that corridor. Like, I'm actually more south of like New York City, Detroit, actually. But I don't think that we're overly affected by something happening halfway around the world. Now, if you're in Europe, then yeah, this is definitely going to affect you, actually. And when it gets like that high. But I feel like people in Hofuf, I don't know what they're doing. It's been at 0 for weeks. And people who've been in South Africa, in Hulului, that must be insane to have it vibing that high. Like, I hope they're all right. But, you know, when you think about it, it's been extremely high there. In Burundi, they just had that massive landslide. They've been having massive floods, lots of landslides, lots of problems. I've been kind of worried, to be frank. I've been, like, quite worried. I don't know if you heard that. It was a boom. It must be a saint's feast day again. So, we are out of the Mercury retro shade. Thank God. Thank God. But I'm still having problems with my computer today, right now. And I don't know why. Sometimes it gets, maybe I need to clear the cache of the browser. That happens sometimes. But, dagnabbit, I gotta put the phone down and figure out what to do. I'm gonna have to just shut it off and turn it back on or something. I don't know what's going on. But, yeah, this whole business about, you know, how everyone just, they'll hear the Schumann Resonance thing from one place, and then they go to the one website they know, and then they don't go out and branch out and explore more. You know, it's been giving me and I hope it's been giving you guys a much greater insight as to the fact that the Schumann Resonance is not one thing. It's not one measurement on the planet. It is, no matter where you are, it's going to be a different number, and it's going to have a different wave. It's going to have a different, like, I don't know, sine wave, cosine wave, I don't know what it's called. But the energy itself is going to go at a different wave and a different rhythm. You know, I feel like if we were able to, you know, have one in every city, then we're going to get a better picture as to why we're feeling the symptoms we're feeling. You know, in Heart Math, the guy who founded Heart Math Institute, a number of years ago, he was interviewed by Art Bell, and I remember him saying that in anticipation, in the collective clairvoyant anticipation of an event, right before an event happens, the Schumann Resonance spikes really, really high. And it spiked really, really high before every disaster that they studied, like over the course of a year. You know, they were looking at the Schumann Resonance around the world, and they were looking at when, like, it spiked in the U.S., and then the Twin Towers, you know, the 9/11 happened, for example. And I remember that, and I remember thinking, you know, there's a lot more to the story. You know, it's not just, I had one person, I saw her video, and she's like, it's when the lightning comes and then that affects it. No, that's what maybe scientists are saying. I asked my higher guidance today because I was interested in this, and the answer is no. It's more affected by cosmic radiation, and it's affected by our collective anxiety and anticipation of an event that on some level we know is coming because we are greater supreme beings. We just don't realize it. And we keep having this, I don't know what, but we know it's coming. And there's a whole other thing I haven't even talked to you guys yet about, but when you, yeah, it's just, actually, it's way too much right now. Deep, deep, deep metaphysics. And there's a book I'm reading on it. When I finish it, I will come right back and tell you about it, but it's really a trip. It's really a trip. So it's one of those things where it's like, well, you know. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess I've been upset and a little bit irritated. People all kind of saying the same thing. I mean, like 4 or 5 videos were released about the Schumann Resonance spiking so high. And it's like, how come y'all are copying off each other's paper? You know what I mean? Like, I kind of get like, you know, some people, I mean, they all have their own little individual thing that they say, but, you know, and I have my own little individual thing that I say about it. But, you know, it's all pretty much the same. And I think I was resenting it today because I feel like I wasted a good solid hour of my time, because after I heard one person talk for 20 minutes on it, it was like, oh, okay, I pretty much got the gist, you know. It's like, sure, we're all going to have the ringing of the ears and sometimes the headaches and low in electrolytes. We got to stay hydrated. We got to eat right. When we eat high vibrational food, we're going to feel better. We know this. It's old hat by now. We've been going through this crap for 2 years, you know, or more, 3 years. I mean, I've known this is going to happen since the 80s, but I wasn't consciously aware, wasn't having the symptoms of it. And that's another thing that's irritating me, you know, the whole don't doubt yourself thing about when you have the Mandela effect in your own family and among your friends. There's another weird thing. The fact that on October 19th, I channeled the Arcturians and they said, we are anchored fully in the fifth dimension. Prime Creator said it. The Andromedans said it. The Pleiadians said it. Michael Sherahan said it. And I'm like, you know what? I can't believe this is happening, but I'm going to tell you guys, here's a weird Mandela effect. The Arcturians, the Arcturian Council, I think they're the same people I channel. Through Daniel Scranton today said, you better be prepared. You're going into the fifth dimension in January. And there's going to be a big, big push, and we're going to put extra energy from the 10th dimension into the humans starting next week. So be prepared for it. And I'm like, okay, so this is really incredible and good news, except for the fact that, hello, we were in the fifth dimension for very many months, got fully anchored in October 19th. So what the flock is happening right now? Because you can all go back and look October 19th and like before, I think Prime Creator 3 or 4 days before, I think is who I channeled. And he said this Saturday we're going to anchor in when enough people are consciously aware, and we reached critical mass and everybody was anchored in. And suddenly all these people are saying, oh, I can't wait to go to the fifth dimension. It's like, dude, you've been in the fifth dimension for months. Just because you feel sad doesn't mean you're not in the fifth dimension. It means that you still are holding on to some 3D crap. You could go higher and higher up into the fifth dimension. More and more and more and more. Arriba, arriba. If you want to. As long as you let go of your baggage, baby, you could go anywhere. You could fly high. You know, we're not stopped. We could go into the 7th and the 9th dimension now if we want. It's a lot of work, but we could do it. So I'm kind of like blown away by this, though. And a few people started saying that again. We're having ascension symptoms. We're having ascension flu. We're going into the fifth dimension. And I'm like, wait a minute. Some of these people, I remember them saying that we're in the fifth dimension and they're starting to see the signs and the stuff in the sky because we're in the fifth dimension now. I don't know if this is happening for you guys. If it feels like suddenly people are regressing because they don't know what else to say and they're trying to make the money with their YouTube videos. Is that it? I don't know. Asking God, did I regress? No. Am I still in the fifth dimension? Yes. Have I been anchored in since October? Yeah, yes. Muscle testing says yes. How is it that the same Arcturians said that? Now, there's one possible caveat, is that our consciousness was anchored in to the fifth dimension fully. Can never go back to the third. Fully anchored in on October 9th with our consciousness only. And that we're bringing our physical bodies in January. If that's what they meant, holy moly, can you imagine? And I'm so excited. If this is true. I mean, I'm hoping that's what it was. Because it's kind of exciting, right? Oh, I thought we were already here physically. Well, hell's bells, baby. We got more to look forward to. I mean, if that's true, that's something entirely new. And I thought we were already there physically. Maybe that's what they meant. But I was like so mad today, like all day. I was like so irritated. I would like watch a video and go, man. And be like, well, I'm not going to watch that person again. Or I'm not going to watch them for a while because they were irritating me. And then I'll go to the next one. It's like, man, not again. You know? And I would just, it's like, I might just stay away from YouTube for a week. I keep looking for like Cosmic Empress, who I just adore. Light Star, again, I love her light language one. And then, again, also with, Why So Serious 24D, really, really like her a lot. But, you know, these are all real people that have real information that don't have a meltdown or a breakdown. Like, you know, one person who I'm not going to really mention his name, but he is all well and good and really enlightened and everything's great, da, 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 da. And then he'd start doing videos on how he and his girlfriend broke up, and I didn't even watch them. I'm like, it's not really our business. And I don't know, maybe it was relevant though. Maybe it was. I just didn't watch it. And then he got in an argument with somebody, and then they're like, it's too bad you have an ego about that. And then he went on and on for days about how I did not have an ego about that. I'm like, oh my God, they totally triggered him and got him, and he's mad about it. He's denying it. And I was just like, I lost a little bit of respect for him at that moment, because I'm like, dude, this isn't, I don't know. I guess why I lost respect is because he kept going, I don't have an ego. I'm so holy. I'm just kidding, he didn't say that, but that was his gist though. I'm here. I'm just being in the moment, in the present moment. I didn't have an ego. And then his ego got fully triggered because someone proved to him he had an ego. You know? Like, you guys, I will never tell you that I don't have an ego, because I know I get irritated, I get annoyed. I know sometimes my ego gets up, you know, the dander, my ego gets up. Is that a thing? I know it's possible. Probable, highly likely, happens a lot. I've never once said I don't make mistakes and I'm all a perfect being in the light. Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know. I mean, that's what Brother Yeshua said when back in the day when he used to be Lao Tzu, when he wrote the Tao Te Ching. You know, I just, I don't know. I tell you guys, I'm here figuring it out in real time with you guys. You know what I mean? And when I'm channeling, I don't know what the hell I'm saying most of the time. And even if I'm like consciously aware of it at that moment, but at the end of it, I don't remember what I just said. I have to go back and listen to it myself. Because I'm like, wait a minute. What did I say again? Like, I'll like tell you guys amazing advice, and the next day talk about how I basically didn't take my own advice. You know I do that. I'm just as fallible as everybody else, and you know, I'm doing my best here. But all right, I gotta pause this for a minute and wait for this disclosure thing. Oh, here we go. Finally, thank God. But like everyone's going, the Schumann Resonance has never been this high in human history. It's like, yeah, like a week ago in South Africa, it was 600. And like one person will say that, and then there's like 5 other people copycatting their paper, you know, looking over their shoulder going, oh, it's been human history. Oh, Schumann, it's never been this high. 2 whole years it's been. No, guys, come on. Oh my God, do the research, do the scientific research. And I need to do more scientific research too. I mean, I want to go and get the parts and get my kid to help me build this thing. I want to figure it out. I want to be the reporter for Ecuador. Hey, by the way, in Ecuador, guess what's happening with the Schumann resonance? Because that gives us a more, there's no one in South Africa. There is in South Africa, I'm lying. There's no one in South America on this whole continent that I have found so far doing the Schumann resonance for this part of the globe. And we did off the coast of Argentina recently have a lot of problems with the magnetosphere and the airplanes going off course. And all of this crap is affected. It's the Schumann resonance is a reflection of what's happening with the magnetosphere and the ionosphere. And it's not about lightning strikes. Some woman was talking about, oh, it's a lightning. That's not true. I actually asked my higher guidance, it's not. I thought it was true, partially, but it's a lot more complicated than what we understand and realize. We only know the tip of the iceberg. I have a feeling. All right, guys. So, disclosure news on IT. 9 o'clock in the morning, they said, after the record high of yesterday, the variations continued sporadically at lower levels. Maximums were at power 15. Wah, wah. I mean, it's like nothing, 15. From midnight, a very active phase started again, which kept the amplitude above 50 Hertz frequency. I hate saying power, it sounds so lame. For about 4 hours, from 1 to 5. And then during this period, the maximum value achieved was power 64, or 64 Hertz frequency. And then in the evening report, 1700, they wrote, much of today's activity has been concentrated in the first part of the day, from midnight till 6, where maximum values have been reached. Other slightly sporadic variations at 15 Hertz frequency occurred at 10:30 a.m. So, yeah, all right. Cool, you know. But, I mean, everyone's running around like a chicken with their head cut off screaming, hey, Chicken Little, sky's falling, 158 Hertz frequency. No wonder I had all these symptoms. It's like, dude, maybe true. Maybe you do live next to Italy and you did have these symptoms. But where were you and how were your symptoms when on November 14th, it was 699.5 in South Africa? You know, on November 14th, did you have more symptoms? You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at this massive graph, you know, like 556 Hertz frequency on November 20th, 617 Hertz frequency on November 24th, and again on November 25th, 606 Hertz frequency, all in South Africa, in Hulului. And in recent days, it's been 269. So where was all your ascension symptoms on December 1st? I don't know, guys. I just feel like it's irritating me. I'm a Virgo. It just bugs me. I just feel like when it was super high in Hulului, I did feel, you know, a lot more cosmic radiation coming our way. I felt it. But we've been getting wave after wave after wave after wave after wave. We have been slammed repeatedly with cosmic radiation every 2 days or so. And today was a rainbow energy. I saw it today with my, I don't know if I have quantum sight, but I saw it. I was looking through my clairvoyant vision, and I saw like streaks that looked like streaks of light up and down pillars of pink and blue and green and yellow. Very pale. It barely, it looked like rainbows, just rainbows everywhere. But up and down rainbows, just massive pillars from the sky coming down to the earth perpendicular. That's what I saw. And I know it's to help us shake free and shake loose of a lot of the crap that we have recently been remembering. You know, so people have been tense, and we're low on electrolytes, and our brains aren't functioning very well. Drink water, get your electrolytes, go get the Pedialyte. Gatorade in a pinch, but it's got way too much sugar, so do Pedialyte, better for you. Do do minerals, do colloidal minerals if you can. I'm looking at this going, man. All right, let's get to it, babe. The Heart Mouth Institute. All right, so California started off at midnight at 45 hertz frequency, and they ended at 5 a.m. at 47 hertz frequency. And Hafuf, Saudi Arabia, man, they're still at 0. They've been at 0 for weeks. 0 hertz frequency. I don't know. I hope they're okay. I just hope they're okay over there. Maybe it's just been very chill, The whole town's smoking weed. Or maybe their equipment's offline. I mean, just be practical about it. That's probably what happened. Lithuania, they had 80 hertz frequency at midnight. They went up to 83 by 5 a.m. In Alberta, Canada, they were at 68 hertz frequency at midnight. By 5 a.m., they were at 66. Yay! Kind of a master number there. In Northland, New Zealand, they were at 198 at midnight. And they went up to 216 hertz frequency by 5 a.m. Looked like that was climbing a little bit too. Looks like they might be going up by tomorrow. We'll keep a lookout for Northland, New Zealand. Now in Hululu, South Africa, the one that's been super high, they were actually pretty middle of the road. They were at 123 hertz frequency at midnight. And by 5 a.m., they were at 128. So there you go. That's it. So, I mean, there's a couple high-ish numbers. I thought for sure with 150 in Italy that the rest would be super high. And they were kind of low, right? 200, that's low compared to where it's been. 200's high, but it's still in comparison to where we've been in weeks recent. And by the way, thank you God, no more Mercury retrograde. I'm feeling better with this Janisa crystal I made, and I'm feeling better with the Mercury retrograde gone. Mercury fully direct, the energy of it fully direct. I feel like we're going to end up getting a lot better soon. All right. Lesson 179 in A Course in Miracles, acim.org. Go ahead and check it out for free on the app or on the website for the Foundation for Inner Peace. And we are still in review. I think tomorrow is our last review, and then we start back on the lessons. Lesson 179 is God is but love, and therefore so am I. And then the first thought of the day to focus on is a review thought from lesson 167. And it says this: there is one life, and that I share with God. There is one life, and that I share with God. God is but love, and therefore so am I. The second thought of the day is taken from lesson 168, and this is the thought: your grace is given me. I claim it now. Your grace is given me. I claim it now. God is but love, and therefore so am I. All right, guys, that's it. I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it's exciting. We are going to be reading Swami Panchadasi, Part 12, Lesson 20 in Clairvoyance and Occult Powers. And this lesson is going to be psychic and magnetic healing. Oh, my God. Crazy, right? We were just talking about healing the common cold yesterday. We've just been talking for almost an hour about the magnetosphere and the ionosphere and our electromagnetic bodies, and holy crap. Here we go. Lesson 20 on psychic and magnetic healing right after these short messages. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's high time you did. It is the absolute easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's absolutely free. Second of all, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. You guys have known that I've been doing this for 8 months using the Anchor.fm app right on my cell phone, and I have done it everywhere, right? I have recorded this in my living room, my bedroom, little cafes in Quito, Ecuador, all over Cuenca. It's so absolutely easy to make your podcast, and editing is just a snap. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you, and it took me about 2.5 months to become syndicated, and now I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more, and so can you. You can make money from your podcast also, and there's no minimum requirement. You get paid from your very first listener. It is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So please, if you are interested in making a podcast of your very own, do not hesitate to start with Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you. Clairvoyance and Occult Powers by Swami Panchadasi, otherwise known as William Walter Atkinson. He had to change his name to Swami because he was a lawyer, I think back in Boston, back in the day, like 102 years ago. And he couldn't be bothered with publishing under his own name. And, you know, people would talk, eyes would roll, it would be a whole thing. So, you know, he had to do it a little bit secretive. And I'm glad he did, you guys. This guy's pretty cool. You know, he's only said maybe one questionable word so far in this manuscript, but anyway, lesson 20 is called Psychic and Magnetic Healing, and I look forward to learning about this. So I hope you guys got your popcorn and your hot chocolate and you're bundling under a really soft cover and cuddling with your kitty cat if you have one. This one's going to be a good night. All right, psychic and magnetic healing. Probably no phase of psychic influence is more familiar to the average person of the Western world than is that of the healing of physical ills and conditions by means of psychic influence under one name or another. Great healing cults and organizations have been built up upon this basis, and the interest in the subject has taken on the form of a great popular movement. As is natural in cases of this kind, there have been hundreds of theories advanced to account for the phenomena of psychic healing. and a still greater number of methods of treatments devised to carry out the principles of the theories, ranging from the teaching of actual divine interposition and influence arising from certain forms of belief and practice, covering many intermediate stages. The theories even include a semi-materialistic hypothesis in which mind is considered as an attribute of matter, but having a magic influence over the forms of matter when properly applied. But it is worthy of note that no matter what the general or particular theory, or what the favored method of application, these healing schools or cults, as well as the independent practitioners, meet with a very fair degree of success and perform quite a number of cures. Many of these Western advocates and practitioners of psychic healing practically hold that the whole system is a very recent discovery and that it has nothing whatsoever to do with ordinary occult science. The occultists, however, are able to smile at these ideas and beliefs, for they not only recognize the general principles involved, but they also are aware that these principles and their application have been known to advanced occultists for thousands of years. I do not say this in any disparagement of the modern schools of psychic healing, for I am in full sympathy with their great work. I merely mention the matter that the student may get the right historical perspective in considering this phase of psychic phenomena and influence. Oh my God, it's almost like what I was just saying in the first part about something else. Oh my God, I love when this happens. It's so weird. You'll have to know, I've never read this book before. I'm reading it with you and enjoying and discovering it alongside you at the same time. So if that just blew your mind, it's blowing mine also. All right, back to the book. So far as the methods of application are concerned, the true occultist recognizes that most of the methods and forms of treatment are but outward cloaks or disguises for the real psychic healing principle. The gist of the real methods is to be found in the principles of the application of psychic influence, which I've presented to you in these lessons, vis-a-vis, number 1, strong desire to make the cure. Number 2, clear mental image or picture of the desired condition as actually present in the patient at this time. And number 3, concentration of the attention and mind of the healer so as to bring a focus to 2 preceding mental states. Here you have the real secret of psychic healing methods. The rest are all elaborations thereof, dressed up in forms and ceremonies, which affect the imagination, faith, belief, and confidence of the patient, and thus make the healing process much easier. In fact, with a proper degree of faith and confidence on the part of the patient, there is but little need of a healer, for the patient may treat and cure himself. However, in most cases, the presence of the healer aids materially in arousing the faith and confidence of the patient and hastens the cure. Again, so far as the theories underlying the cures are concerned, occultists are able to reduce them all to a single working theory or principle, which includes all the rest, brushing aside all technical details and all attempts to trace back the healing process to the ultimate facts of the universe. I may say that the gist of the principle of all psychic healing is that of influencing the astral foundation of the various organs and parts, cells and centers, so as to make it proceed to manifest a more perfect physical counterpart. All psychic healing is really accomplished on the astral body first. Then the physical body responds to the renewed activities of its astral counterpart. To get the real significance of this statement it is necessary for you to realize just what the astral body really is. This once grasped, the difficulties vanish, and you are able to form a clear conception of the entire matter and process. The astral body is a precise counterpart of the physical body. Its organs, its parts, its centers, and its cells. In fact, the astral body is a pattern upon which the physical body is materialized. The astral body is composed of an etheric substance of a very high rate of vibration. In one sense, it may be considered as a very subtle form of matter. In another, as a semi-materialized form of force or energy. It is finer and more subtle than the rarest vapors or gases known to science, and yet it has a strong degree of tenacity and cohesiveness that enables it to resist attacks from the material side of nature. As I have said, each organ, part, center, or cell of the physical body has its astral pattern or basis. In fact, the physical body has been built up in whole and in all of its parts on the pattern and the base of the astral body. Moreover, in case of impaired functioning of the physical organs or parts and impaired activity of the physical body, its limbs, etc., if we can manage to arouse the activities of the astral body, we may cause it to re-materialize or re-energize the physical body, and thus restore health and activity to it. If the liver, for instance, is not functioning properly, we proceed to start up the activities of the astral counterpart of that organ to the end that the physical organ may be re-energized and recreated in a measure. All true psychic healing work is performed on the astral plane before it manifests on the physical. At this point, I should also call your attention to the effect of prana, or life energy. Prana. Okay. In some cases of healing, this prana is what Western healers mean when they speak of human magnetism in their healing work. So far from being an imaginary force, as claimed by the physical scientists and materialists, it is known to all occultists as an active principle of the human body and as of great efficacy in the psychic treatment of disease. I shall mention the details of this form of treatment as we proceed. I mention it at this place merely to call your attention to the fact of its existence. Before passing on to the consideration of other phases of the subject before us, I would like to call your attention to the fact that from the earliest days of history, there have been recorded instances of some form of psychic healing. In the earlier days, the psychic healing work was left entirely in the hands of the priesthood of the various religions prevailing in the several counties of the world. I know it meant countries, is typo, sorry. So it is the world of religions prevailing in the several countries of the world. Claiming to have an exclusive divine sanction to perform healing work, these priests used various ceremonies, rites, incantations, etc. in order to obtain their results. In many cases, the priests were ignorant of the real psychic forces invoked and set into operation. They merely practiced methods which had been found to work out effectively and which had been handed down to them by their predecessors. In other cases, however, the priests undoubtedly were skilled occultists and had a very full knowledge of the forces they were using. Though, as the masses of the people were very ignorant, it was impossible to acquaint them with these things so far above their understanding, and consequently the priests applied the healing forces under the disguise of their religious ceremonies and rites. From time to time, however, as civilization progressed, there came into prominence persons who worked cures by physical ills. Who worked cures of physical ills by means of magical ceremonies and other similar methods, but who were outside of the priesthood. Some of these men undoubtedly had a very fair knowledge of the real secret of their cures, though they disguised them to suit the mental condition of the patients and also probably for purposes of self-glorification. In other cases, however, it is probable that these healers had merely stumbled across the fact that certain things, said in a certain way, tended to work cures, or that certain physical objects seemed to have therapeutic value or virtue. They did not realize that the whole healing virtue of their systems depended upon the strong idea in their own minds, coupled with the strong faith and confidence in the mind of the patient. And so the work went on. In some of the oldest records of the human race, the scriptures of the various peoples, we find that the quote-unquote laying on of hands was the favorite method employed by the holy men and the priests and other performing healing work. From the first, there seems to have been almost an instinctive recognition on the part of man of the fact that there is a healing power in the touch of the hand. Even ignorant and savage mothers. I don't know why he keeps saying that. That's ugh. I don't think he means Native Americans or Native whatevers, Native Europeans, Native whatever. I don't know what he means by savage, but maybe it just means people don't live in the city, you know. You live in the countryside, you're a savage. You hunt your own food, savage. It kind of bothers me. Oh, here we go, unplugging the phone again. Weird. All right. Okay, I just got a message. It's like, sorry, Avast. I will deal with you later. All right. Where was I? Dagnabbit. Oh yeah, okay. Even ignorant and savage mothers instinctively apply their hands to the hurt bodies of their children, a custom that has its counterpart in civilized races, by the way. The child is taught to expect physical relief from the application of the mother's hands, and its mind at once pictures relief. Okay, wait a minute. I'm going to stop for a second. How many of you were relieved instantly of pain when your mommy kissed your boo-boos when you were like 2 and 3 and 4 years old? That's what he's talking about. You expect your mommy's going to make it all better. When you're like 2, you see her as a kind of a goddess. Do you not? I just had to point that out because I just had a very distinct memory of hurting my finger and my mom putting a Band-Aid out, and I was watching the wind in the palm trees because I lived in Southern California in Van Nuys, across the street from Van Nuys High School. That's where I grew up, my first house I remember living in. And I remember my mom kissing my boo-boo and all the pain went away immediately. And I made her kiss it again because I liked the attention and I loved my mom so much. My adopted mom was the sweetest person in the whole world from beginning to end of the time I knew her. A sweet person. Anyway, I think that's what it is when your mommy kisses your boo-boo. Your mom holds it. Like I used to hold my when my oldest kid would stub a toe or something, I would say, okay, hold your toe. And then I'd hold her toe with her, you know. I'd say, and then you say this, oh, my toe, my toe, my toe, my toe, my toe, my toe. Or, oh, my finger, my finger, my finger. And then we'd make a game of it and we'd laugh about it, and always we'd feel better afterwards. Anyway, that's what he's talking about. That's really cool. All right, let's get back into the book. Not only is the mental picture created, but the desire and the confidence is established in the minds of both persons. The same thing is true of all laying on of hands, and thus are the principles of all psychic influence brought into play. But this is not all there is to it. In the first place, there is an actual transference of prana from the body of the healer to that of the patient, which serves to energize and revitalize the cells and the centers of the body of the latter. In the second place, there is the effect upon the astral body of the patient, which tends to materialize better physical conditions. In the third place, there is that combination and union of the minds of the two persons, which gives extra force and power to psychic influence. Is it any wonder that cures take place under these circumstances? In the modern revival of the almost lost art and science of psychic healing among the general public, there has been unusual stress laid upon the feature of absent healing, in which the patient and the healer are not in each other's presence. To many, this has seemed actually miraculous and as a positive proof of divine interposition. But a little thought will show that the student that such cures are not unknown in the pages of history, and as a casual examination of the sacred books of almost any religion will show. Moreover, the student will see that to the effect of certain principles of psychic influence, there needs but to be added the principles of telepathic communication, or better still, the principles of astral communication by some phases of clairvoyance to account for the entire phenomena of absent healing. Space is no barrier on the astral plane, as you've seen in the preceding chapters of this book. Once the en rapport condition is established between healer and patient, and the rest is simple, the astral body is induced to energize more actively, and as a result, the physical manifestation is improved and normal functioning restored. Of course, all this is wonderful enough. All psychic phenomena is, for that matter, but we see that we do not have to go outside established occult laws, principles, and facts in order to account for some of these modern miracles which have puzzled and perplexed so many good persons who have not known of the occult teachings and who fear that the world is being turned upside down and nature's laws overturned by these quote-unquote newfangled ideas and methods. Perhaps the most simple method of healing by psychic influence is that which is at the same time the oldest method. For example, the laying on of hands. This method was revived about 20 years ago in America and Europe by the new school of magnetic healing, which sprung rapidly into public favor. The other schools of psychic healing, generally known as mental healing, spiritual healing, divine healing, etc., generally frown upon the use of the hands in psychic healing, deeming it too material and too much allied to hypnotism. I don't put my hands on people and I hypnotize them. That's kind of weird. Hypnotism isn't too material. I mean, you have to look at something, but is that too material? I don't know. Anyway. But this view is quite bigoted and narrow. See? That's what I was thinking. For this method has no relation to hypnotism. See? I just said that. And moreover, it gives the patient the benefit of the flow of prana from the healer, while at the same time producing the psychic effect on the astral body, as I've just mentioned. And by the way, I prefer Reiki because that's a constant flow of universal life force energy through you into the person. Using your own prana gives up part of your health, and then you have to regrow the prana again. I'm just saying, don't do prana healing with people. If you're interested, hook people up to the grid, the healing grid. That's a new thing that they didn't know back then because it didn't exist until about 3 years ago. All right, back to the book. I take the liberty of quoting here something on this subject from my little book entitled The Human Aura. In the chapter of that book devoted to the consideration of the subject of auric magnetism, I said, in cases of magnetic healing, etc., the healer, by an effort of his will, sometimes unconsciously applied, projects a supply of his pranic aura vibrations into the body of his patient by way... where was I? Oh my God, you guys, my oldest kid just wrote me, and I'm like, oh, and then I lost my... Oh my God, I gotta pause this and check out where we just were. All right. Projects a supply of pranic aura vibrations into the body of the patient by way of the nervous system of the patient, and also by means of what may be called the induction of the aura itself. The mere presence of a person strongly charged with prana is often enough to cause an overflow into the aura of the other persons, with a resulting feeling of new strength and energy. By the use of the hands of the healer, a heightened effect is produced by reason of certain properties inherent in the nervous system in both the healer and the patient. There is even a flow of etheric substance from the aura of the healer to that of the patient in cases in which the vitality of the latter is very low. Many a healer has actually and literally pumped his life force and etheric substance into the body of his patient when the latter was sinking into weakness, which precedes death, and has by so doing been able to bring him back to strength and life. This is practically akin to the transfusion of blood, except it is upon the psychic plane instead of that of the physical. Okay, I have another note. I did that for my father when he was laying on his deathbed. He did not have enough energy to die. And I told him I was going to give him some Reiki energy. And I gave him Reiki energy thinking I was helping him. And he died that night, like 4 hours later. Sometimes people need to be given a boost of energy to leave their body. It can be painful, I think, to leave your body when you don't have that extra oomph. And that's why a lot of times people feel like they'll look weak, and then all of a sudden they look strong and in the pink of health. Their cheeks are rosy, and then they die because they're given an extra oomph from their soul. Or maybe people are praying for them or sending them Reiki or energy or whatever. And then they're given enough energy and they can finally leave and release the body. I just wanted to bring that up. But the true magnetic healer, call him by whatever name you wish, does not make this pranic treatment the all in all of his psychic treatment. On the contrary, it is but the less subtle part which leads up to the higher phases. While treating his patients by the laying on of hands, he, at the same time, strives to induce in the mind of the patient the mental image of restored health and physical strength. He pictures the diseased organ as restored to health and normal functioning. He sees the entire physiological machinery operating properly. The work of nutrition, the work of assimilation and excretion going on naturally and normally. By proper words of advice and encouragement, he awakens hope and confidence in the mind of the patient, and thus obtains the cooperation of that mind in connection to his own mental efforts. The astral body responds to this treatment and begins to energize the physical organs and cells into normal activity, and the journey toward health is begun. In the little book just mentioned, The Human Aura, I give valuable information regarding the influence of colors in psychic healing, which I do not reproduce here as it is outside the scope and field of the present lessons. Those who may feel interested in the subject are respectfully referred to the little manual itself. It's sold for a nominal price by the publishers of the present work, for free in the Gutenberg Library, because this guy's been dead a long time. Shh. Sorry, just had to. In the form of psychic treatment, which comes under the head of suggestive therapeutics, great insistence is laid upon the verbal suggestion to the patient on the part of the healer. The patient is told that he will get well, that his organs will function normally, etc., etc. But the student of the present lessons will readily see that the only virtue in the spoken words consists in their power to evoke and induce the mental image and the desired condition in the mind of the patient. The mental picture thus evoked produces a corresponding effect in the astral body of the patient and sets into operation the materialization of his desired results. In addition, the words produce a strong mental picture in the mind of the healer himself, and thus give form and strength to his psychic vibrations, which are being poured out toward the patient. This is really the secret of suggestive treatment. The many cults of metaphysical healing in America and Europe lay great stress upon what they call affirmations, which are but statements of the patient of his or her faith in the healing power of God or of mind or spirit or principle. Different names are used. The patient naturally has confidence aroused, and as naturally begins to picture the desired condition. This in turn reacting upon the astral body, and this upon the physical body or organ. In addition, the healer's mind is also set to work in the same way and sets into motion the healing psychic forces in the way just mentioned. You will notice that the same principle is always involved and set into operation and manifestation. There is no particular virtue in the form of affirmation used by the healer or patient, except the important virtue of being able to arouse strong mental pictures of restored health, proper functioning, etc. There's of course this also. Certain forms of affirmations or mental statements are better suited than others to the particular wants of certain persons. For instance, a very religious person will be aroused better by affirmations and statements filled with religious sentiments and ideas, while a person of a purely scientific turn of mind will receive more benefit from affirmations in which the precise physiological functions are specifically mentioned, while the person who is fond of mystery and strange ceremonies will be better served in the affirmations or statements taken in the form of some magical incantation, etc. The difference, however, lies in the mind of the patient rather than in the words themselves. Words are merely invokers of ideas. They're symbols of ideas. In themselves, words are nothing, but the ideas are everything. Awesome. If you wish to treat yourself psychically for some physical disorder, or if you wish to do good to others in the same way, you have but to put the operation into operation the general principles of psychic influence herein described. That is to say, you must be first filled with the strong desire and wish to make the cure. Then you must make a strong mental image of the desired result as it actually present. Do not think of it as it's going to be. Instead, say and think that it is now. Then concentrate the attention firmly and positively upon this idea. You may aid yourself and others by affirmations or auto-suggestions, words creating desired ideas and mental pictures if you wish. You may get better results in this way. In this connection, let me remind you that the healing work in many cases consists largely in placing proper mental pictures in the mind of the patient, thereby displacing improper and harmful mental pictures of disease, etc., which have been given lodgment there before. Many persons are sick because of improper, harmful mental pictures that they have allowed to be placed there by the suggestions of others. Ugh. Fear and the dread of disease often acts to bring about the feared condition for reasons that you can readily see. And now for finally the work of absent healing by psychic influence. I can state this to you very simply. It is this. Take what I've just told you regarding personal treatments and combine it with what I've told you in previous lessons about long-distance psychic influence. Then you will have the whole thing. Here's a sample of an effective distant treatment or absent treatment, to use a popular term. It may be varied and enlarged up to fit the individual cases. Sit quietly in your own room, inducing a calm mental attitude and peaceful state. Then, in the way I already told you in this book, make a mental picture of the patient as sitting opposite you or lying down in front of you. If you've never seen the patient, make simply a mental image of a man or a woman, as the case may be, and think of the figure as being the patient. The best practitioners of distant psychic healing produce such a strong mental image of the patient that they can often actually feel his or her presence. This, of course, is the result of a simple form of clairvoyance. Then make a strong mental picture of the condition that you wish to induce in the patient, the healthy physical condition of the organ or part of the body as the case may be. See this condition as existing at the present time and not as merely to come into the future. At the same time, you will do well to mentally speak to the patient just as you would in case he were sitting before you in the physical body. Tell the patient just what you would in such a case. Pour in the suggestions or the affirmations or whatever you may wish to call them. In some cases in which an excellent en rapport condition is established, patients become aware of the treatment and sometimes can almost see and feel the presence of the healer. A prominent mental scientist of America instructs his pupils to consider each of the organs of the patients or of themselves as having a separate intelligence, and therefore to speak up to it as if it really understood what was being said to its organ mind. I would say that such form of treatment would be calculated to bring about very good results. Indeed, the principle of concentration and mental picturing would be invoked very strongly in such a case, and the astral counterpart of the organ should respond to such treatment quickly and effectively. It is an occult fact that there is mind in every organ and cell of the body, and if the same is awakened in the astral counterpart, it will respond to the command, suggestion, or direction. The writer in question evidently is well acquainted with this occult law, judging from his other writings, and has simply veiled his knowledge and with this easily understood method of treatment, which undoubtedly will do the work, to use the American term. Finally, no matter what may be the theory or method given in connection with psychic healing of any or all kinds, you will find the same general principles underlying it that have been presented over and over again in this book. In fact, many purely material and physical remedies owe their success to the fact that they appeal to the imagination of the patient and also inspire confidence in him. Anything that will inspire confidence, faith, and hope in the mind of a patient will bring to his mind strong mental pictures of restored health and normal functioning of his organs. That thing will make for health for him. So there you have the whole theory and practice in a sentence. I would remind the student that these are not lessons to be read but once and then laid aside, in order to get from them all that they contain for you. You will find it necessary to read them over several times, with a reasonable interval between readings, for the knowledge to sink into your mind. I feel sure that you will find with each reading that there are many points that you overlooked before. The lessons cover a wide field with many little excursions into bypaths and lanes of thought. I trust that the reading and study will make you not only a wiser person, but also a stronger and a more efficient one. I thank you for your kind attention and trust that we shall meet again in the future. Finis. Finis, I guess. Finis. That was it, guys. I looked like there's a lot more to this, but that was it, baby. We finished it. Woo! And this is cool. There's a lot of books that I'm going to have to go over. There's like little advertisements in the back of the book, and these are super old. They're like 102 years old advertisements. The Art and Science of Personal Magnetism. Ooh, Medical Hypnotism and Suggestion. Ooh, I'm going to have to read that for myself. Seership, Hindu, and Oriental Methods. Very interesting. Hindu spelled Hindoo. It's so old. Practical Mind Reading by William Walker Atkinson. I keep saying Walter. It's Walker. Practical Mind Reading. Now that might be interesting. The solar plexus or the abdominal brain. This is like 100 years old. How to know your future. How to converse with your spirit friends. Yeah, I'm just kidding. The power of concentration. Dynamic thought. How to develop your personality. Mental Influence by William Walker Atkinson again. Success and Happiness. Genuine Mediumship, I can't even say that word. Practical Psychomancy and Crystal Gazing by William Walker Atkinson. Table Wrapping and Automatic Writing. The Astral World, Its Scenery, Dwellers, and Phenomena by Swami Panchadasi. Again, William Walker Atkinson. That might be an interesting one, that one, huh? If any of these sound good to you guys and you want me to start reading one of these next week, I would love to do it. Practical Psychometry. All right, there you go. And that was it. End of the Project Gutenberg ebook, Clairvoyance and Occult Powers. That was an excellent book. I'm going to have to go and listen to myself read it, again and again. But yeah, I got to look at the description of these books. These look all really good. Like, seriously, there was some really, really good knowledge back in the day, Not my day, but the Victorian people's day. So I'm excited about this. I don't know about you guys, but I want to look more and more and more into it. The Art and Science of Personal Magnetism, The Secret to Fortune, Fame, and Love. I don't know if I can read it to you guys, but I might read it for myself. It might be good. Mental radiation. It might be interesting, I think honestly a lot of this we just read in the book that we just finished. So there you go. We finished a book. Do you guys feel like accomplished? I know in the beginning when I started reading this that not everybody stayed with it. Like the first week was like 96 people. Then the second week, like it dropped down to 86. And last week, I think maybe 56 people listened to it. So if you started it and then you just kind of skipped ahead, go back and listen to the middle lessons. Because every week was a different lesson and it's totally different information every week. So it's all very worth it. I mean, clairvoyance isn't just learning to tell someone's future. It's all of it, including psychically influencing someone. If you're in a bad way and you need them to move out of your way, you can push people with your mind over a little bit, especially if you're afraid. If you're like walking at night and someone is menacing, you could put a little bit of a thought into their head that they should probably get away from you if they start thinking you're menacing. Just for a couple seconds, and then that's it. Or it could send people love, and if they're really negative vibration, they're not going to like it, and they'll move. That's another way to deal with that. Well, that's it, guys. I hope that you could send me your any stories about seeing Santa Claus or holiday miracles, regardless of if you're religious or not, or no matter what religion you are. If you have any holiday miracles, I want to hear them. Send them to metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com. I just started a TikTok account, by the way. I just heard of it today. My brother's like, well, why don't you go through... My brother, who I said, he never even wrote me for Thanksgiving. Well, he wrote me today. Didn't mention Thanksgiving, but he did write me today, and he did say he's thinking about me, and he thinks I should have a TikTok account. So I got one, downloaded the app. Haven't made my first video yet, but I'm coming up with a couple funny ones. I'll make them like vines or something, maybe, but to do with spiritual stuff. Or I'll show you guys like the cover of books that I talk about on the show. That might be helpful. Then I could get more people listening to the show, and also you guys could go over there and check it out. It's Metaphysical Soul Speak, all one word. But I have like literally nothing there right now. So when I do something, I'll let you guys know. All right, that's it, guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being on the spiritual journey with me, for ascending with me, possibly for like the second time in a row. We're already in the fifth dimension. But maybe physically we're not, and mentally we are. I don't know. If you guys have any thoughts about that, it's like a bunch of timelines collapsing at once. Is that what's going on? I thought all this happened already. I don't know. Anyway, we're here now. Oh, I see it. I'm sleeping now, so I know my body's like, it's time to go to sleep. All right, that's it. That's all I gotta say about that. I'm signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the holy fifth dimension. Until next time, guys, peace. Do you ever wish you could look into the next chapter in your book of life and see what's coming next? What does the universe have in store for you? I can help you with that. I will give you a Celtic cross reading, which is 10 cards, or you can ask me 3 questions, and I use 3 cards per question. So that's 9 cards, or I can channel your higher guidance, or maybe God directly for you. Maybe you want to talk to your dear departed Aunt Edna, because maybe you have a few questions and she was the smartest person you knew. If your deceased relatives are available or your ascended masters, I can channel them for you personally. Let me have 1 hour to show you the future in your next chapter of your book of life. Readings are $75, and it takes me an hour to an hour and a half to complete. And for this price, you will also be hooked up to the healing grid around the planet for free, which means yours truly, me, I will be giving you Reiki 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of your life. All you have to do is let me know. metaphysicalsoulspeak@gmail.com, and we will explore your future together.